Easter. This is the most significant day in the history of forever. So whatever your background, whether you're a regular churchgoer or not, whatever we might think, this event is the most significant in the whole history of eternity. And eternity is a long, long time. Eternity past, here we are in the present, moving through time, and there's a vast eternity in the future. We were singing there in one of the songs that we sang, because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, death is dead. Our greatest enemy, our greatest fear, the certainty ahead of each and every one of us, death itself, death is dead. Christ has won. He has conquered. A great book was written about 400 years ago, and the title was The Death of Death, in the death of Christ. This is the day that death died. It's the most significant event. I just want to take one phrase from Mark chapter 16 that was read to us. It's in verse 6 where the angel says to the women, "He has risen. He has risen." Resurrection is the pivotal truth of Christianity. If there was no resurrection, if Christianity is false, if Jesus was just a good man and a great moral teacher, there are not many who would deny that he existed and that the things that he taught were wonderful things. But if he really isn't God and the resurrection didn't happen, if Christianity is false at its core, it really is the vilest deceit ever. I lived for 40 years in the city of Cardiff. There's a plaque on one of the buildings there in Cardiff city centre. It was put there when Cardiff was still quite a small town. It commemorates a man called Rawlings White, who, because he was declaring Jesus and the resurrection, in 1555, he was burnt at the stake in Cardiff. I think of millions of Christians who are following this amazing person. We would call him amazing, Jesus Christ. If it's a falsehood, we've given up much on a lie. 50 years ago, I became a follower of Jesus Christ, brought from atheism to this amazing faith in a matter of a few days, really. And it's transformed my life. If this is a falsehood, what have I been doing for 50 years? The apostles gave up their lives declaring Jesus and the resurrection. It's not only Rawlings White, but millions of Christians have been martyred for declaring that Jesus not only died, but rose again. So if it's false, it's the vilest deceit in history. If it's true, since it's true, I would say since it's true, it changes everything. Nothing can ever be the same. Three words that change everything. He has risen. In the original Greek, you see the New Testament was written in the language of the time, and the language of the time was Greek. It pervaded the whole of the Western world, and the New Testament was written in Greek, and we have he has risen. It's one Greek word, agyro. Agyro. So you've learned something this morning, a Greek word, agyro. He has risen. Now, agyro means to arise, really from sleep. So this morning, at around about 7:30, I agyroed. Anybody here this morning didn't agyro? Anybody fallen back to sleep again? You all agyroed because I can see you, here you are. Agyro can mean to awaken, to rouse from sleep. Now, when applied to Jesus Christ, laid in the tomb, 3 days later, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, agyro. He was aroused. He was awakened from that tomb. The apostles, 12 of them, One, Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him, in deep remorse, eventually took his own life, leaving 11 apostles. 10 of them were martyred for declaring Jesus and the resurrection. That was there. If you wanted, I'm often asked after I've given a message here, what's the title for your sermon? And you've got to think very quickly, well, what can I call it? If you ask the apostles, what's the title of your sermon? It was simple. It was always the same. It was the old story. There's nothing new or fresh about it. It was Jesus and the resurrection. Jesus and the resurrection. And for declaring that, 10 of them suffered awful martyrs' deaths. Only one, as far as we know, John, lived into old age, but he didn't survive persecution. That still came to him, exiled on the island of Patmos, a rocky outcrop in the Aegean Sea. Jesus and the resurrection was the theme of the preaching of the apostles. In fact, such a theme it was that when Paul was preaching in Athens, Jesus and the resurrection. So Christos, he preached. Christos, Christ, Anesti, Anastasia. If you've called Anastasia here, your name means resurrection, to stand up again. Paul preaching Christos, Anesti, Christ and Anastasia. They thought he was preaching about two gods. So often was he preaching Christ and the resurrection, Jesus and Anastasis, to stand up again. Now, my dad was born in Athens, and that's where I get my name Christofides from. I was born in the north of England, the Yorkshire Dales area, but Dad was born in Athens and was a Greek speaker, came here at the age of 15 to Britain. And every Easter morning, he would say, Christos Anesti, Christos Anesti, Christ is risen. And the response, Alithos Anesti, truly, he is risen. Christ is risen, truly, he is risen. Christos Anesti, Alithos Anesti, Jesus and the resurrection. So that's our theme this morning. One Greek word, three wonderful English words. He is risen, agairo. Let's think about the scene. We've had it read to us. That Sunday morning, that first day of the week, the women, three of them, Mary Magdalene, Mary the son of James, and there was Salome, and they're going towards the tomb. They have a purpose. They have been there at the cross. I mean, a question comes, where were the men? Now, according to prophecy, and Jesus said to them on the night he was betrayed, the shepherd will be stricken and the sheep will scatter. And that was the men. They were nowhere to be seen. Peter followed for a while at a distance, but then he's challenged by a little servant girl. You're one of them? I am not. Yes, you are. You've got that northern accent. I am not one of them. I'm sure you are. He called down curse. I am not. Denied Christ 3 times, as Jesus had prophesied that he would. They're all scattered. But at the cross, we're told that these 3 ladies were watching at a distance. And the horror that they saw, I mean, to see a crucifixion, and the horror of it all. And they stayed there, they lingered there. And then when Jesus was taken down from the cross by Joseph of Arimathea, they are following Joseph to the garden tomb, and they see Joseph lay the body of Jesus in the tomb, and they're watching at a distance. And outside the tomb will be a large stone, and we're told there by Mark it was very large, and it will be in a slot, and the stone will be uphill, and it would roll down this little channel and seal the tomb. And the ladies were there and watching. The next day was the Sabbath, and everything shuts down on the Sabbath. All the shops are closed. Nothing happens. People didn't move on the Sabbath. But when the Sabbath was over, we're told that these three ladies bought spices that they might go and anoint the dead body of the one who they loved, the Lord Jesus Christ. And so when it was still dark, they got up, they got their spices, and they set off towards the tomb. By the time they're approaching the tomb, the first shafts of light of the new day are breaking across the sky. And they're making their way towards the tomb. And they want to anoint the body of Jesus. But there is a problem, and they're discussing on the way, who's going to move the stone? So I don't know if it was you three ladies here on the front. Who's going to move the stone? And are they checking their arms? I don't know. Maybe they had some quite Amazon-like ladies among, but they had a problem. Who's going to move the stone? Wonderfully, Matthew supplies some information that Mark doesn't. Disciples. He was a converted tax collector. His name was Levi. He becomes Matthew. And when he writes his account of these events, we're told this, Matthew 28 and verse 1. After the Sabbath, at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake. Violent. This is no small tremor. There was a violent earthquake. 4. Why the earthquake? An angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. I've got quite an imagination. An earthquake. Now, there's a guard around the tomb, of course. The guard has been set and the tomb has been sealed with a Roman seal so there can be no tampering. And a guard has been set there, Roman soldiers. And it's half light now. It's dark, but the dawn's starting to break, and there's an earthquake. And an angel comes down from heaven. Now, he doesn't land on the stone. He now, having landed on the earth, he marches up to the tomb. We're told what the soldiers are thinking. Well, they're trembling, and then they faint. That's what they do. And then the angel rolls away the stone. And not only that, Matthew says, he, having rolled it away, sat on it. And I can hear the angel saying, "Ha!" And the tomb is open. Ladies, problem solved, all right? Problem solved. Who is going to move the stone? God has got this in hand. There's no problem you're facing that God cannot deal with. He'll move any stone. He'll roll away the stone, and he'll give you access to areas that you feel are totally inaccessible. He rolled away the stone. Now, why was the stone moved? Let's not get this wrong. The angel didn't move the stone away so that Jesus could exit the tomb. He had already exited. How? Well, as we read the Bible, we find that he now has, Jesus, in his first coming, the incarnation, he was just like you and me, a little baby. He had to grow to be a child, and he knew teenage years, and he knew the 20s, and he knew the 30s up to the age of 33, but he could get tired and hungry. He could be weary. He can be bruised and battered. They crucified him. He had a human body just like yours and mine. But there's coming a day for all of us who trusted Jesus Christ when we will have a resurrection ourselves. And our bodies will be like his resurrection body. Now, I'm looking forward to it. We moved house this week, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, box after box after box after box, fill them, carry them in the car, out the car, in the house, up the stairs, 2 flights of stairs, down to the basement. Yesterday, I'm digging foundations for a shed that we've ordered. Nowhere to keep the garden tools, the lawnmower, order a shed. Where do we put it on? Dig some foundations. My back is really struggling. But the resurrection body, and which Jesus Christ, we're told, is the prototype. He's the firstborn from the dead, the prototokos. Another Greek word for you. Gyro, prototokos. The firstborn from the dead, Jesus Christ, the resurrection body is physical, but it's also spiritual. Jesus would suddenly appear in a locked room. Peace be with you. Then suddenly disappear. The two on the road to Emmaus, they don't recognize him until he breaks bread, and then suddenly he disappears. Oh, what is this like? No, the stone wasn't rolled away to let Jesus out. He'd already exited the tomb. The stone was rolled away to let you and I in. And we're going to see it through the eyes of these 3 wonderful ladies. Where are the men? Again, where are the men? Often the same today, on the mission field, lots of ladies volunteering. You want to sign up for volunteers in the church? Often, I don't want to I'm a man myself, by the way. I'm not giving you a big downer on, but women are often up front and central. There's a bravery that they have. If I want something doing, I mean, the removal men are a bit, you're not listening online, are you, removal men? They're a little bit grumpy. And I thought, I'll send Jill in. And even Jill couldn't solve this one. Even Jill. In the end, she did with bacon and butties and donuts and things. But the ladies go in and hear these wonderful words. He is risen. Let's just think about that. I want to think about the he, first of all, and then the risen, and then make a brief application. Then we can have some tea and coffee and we can talk together. He. But when they looked up, they saw the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe. Now, he had been on the stone. He got off the stone. Now he's gone into the tomb. The women are coming off the stone into the tomb. And as they entered the tomb, they saw the young man dressed in a white robe sitting at the right side, and they were alarmed. He puts them at ease. Don't be alarmed, he said. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene who was crucified. Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified. Who are they looking for? The angel says, you're looking for Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified. Jesus of Nazareth. Now, you've probably heard of the TV series that starred Robert Powell, Jesus of Nazareth. That was in my teenage years. That's going back a long time. Now, it's a while since I was a teenager, but Jesus of Nazareth, in his earthly ministry, those who wanted to put him down called him Jesus of Nazareth, because Nazareth was up north. All that happened in Israel was around Jerusalem and in Judea and Bethlehem and those areas. But up north, Galilee, where it was a backwater. If you wanted to put Jesus down, you'd call him Jesus of Nazareth. One of the men who eventually became a disciple said when he heard that Jesus came from Nazareth, Nazareth? Can anything good come from Nazareth? When one of the Jewish ruling council, a man called Nicodemus, wanted to offer some little defense to Jesus, the rest of the council turned on him. Don't you know he comes from Galilee, up north? The Bible's very clear. The scriptures are very clear. Nothing, no prophet comes from Galilee. Jesus of Nazareth was a derogatory term. And yet, this wonderful Savior owns the name. He's happy to own the name. It's his name still. You're looking for Jesus of Nazareth. He's exalted, and yet he's still gentle and lowly. You look at the world leaders and the world heroes. They are often brash and arrogant people, jutting their jaws out. A picture comes to my mind of a NATO, or was it a world summit somewhere, and the world leaders are there, and towards the back is one who thinks he should have the preeminence, and he comes, I won't say who he is, I can see he comes through. And the others are bouncing off him. Not my Jesus. Gentle, lowly. Oh, he's so welcoming. He's so approachable. These world leaders, you might think, can I possibly have an audience? Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden. I've got something for you. It's called rest and peace. It's what you're looking for. You imagine you'll find it in wealth and health and position and status. Nothing wrong with health and wealth and position and status, but it won't bring you peace and rest. It's Jesus alone that brings peace and rest. That comes through a relationship with the God who is there. We were designed to know him. Our raison d'etre is to know God. Relationships are key. Brothers and sisters and children and grandchildren, husbands and wives and partners and friends. When they go wrong, it's a terrible thing. But the key relationship is our relationship with the God who is there. That's why he made us. We're designed to know him. And that is real life and peace and rest and prosperity. And that is why God made us. And you come to Jesus Christ and you find that. Oh, he's still called Jesus of Nazareth, exalted, risen, yet still gentle and lowly. There's a humility about him. And so really, just a little word to those who are Christians here. That's what we ought to aspire towards, to be like Jesus in his humility. It's one thing the devil, and no human being can imitate, Christian humility. It's beautiful when you see it. Its opposite is quite ugly. Pride, self, where we have a critical spirit, and we, again, don't be like the grumpy removal man. Grumpy Christian, bearing, forbearing, going the extra mile, turn the other cheek, not giving offense, not taking offense, gentle and lowly, humility. You're looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified and dead. Ladies, I know that you saw it. You were there. I was watching from heaven. I was watching and I saw you there. You're seeking Jesus, the one who you loved and the one who you followed. And I know why you're here, ladies. You have an agenda. You've come to anoint his dead body. How kind of you. Where are the men? Where are the men? They have to go rushing back with a message. Or tell his disciples who've scattered, and Peter, who denied him, that he is risen and he'll go ahead of you, just as he said he would, and he will meet you up north in Galilee. How kind of you to come to anoint his body. How brave of you. Again, the soldiers who were there, the stone that has to be moved, the opposition that Jesus had known and he'd been executed. How brave, how kind, how brave you are. But ladies, how very wrong you are to come to anoint his body. Do you not remember what he had said? So let's think about risen. He has risen. The angel has to say, He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. Go and tell his disciples and Peter, he's going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you. Now, Jesus had said many times that he would die. He'd suffer many things at the hands of the Jewish leaders and the council and the elders of the people. And they would mock him. And they would crucify him. They'd put him to death. Now, in a sense, he could have read the way things were going, and he would have understood the mounting opposition. It looked like if he pursued this line, and Luke tells us that he set his face like a flint towards Jerusalem 2 years before. Nothing was going to deflect him, and yet this was planned not only 2 years before, but from his birth. And before his birth, it was prophesied in the Garden of Eden, and before the Garden of Eden, it was planned, we find, in eternity past. And how far back do we have to go to get to eternity past? Will the alarm go off if I push this door? I won't try it. But you never find a time when this wasn't planned. And Jesus, and you could say, well, he understood the opposition was rising, and he would die. But he also prophesied 3 occasions rapidly in Mark's Gospel, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10. They will kill me. On the 3rd day, he was very specific, I will rise again. And we're told on each occasion the disciples didn't understand. They were scared to ask him about it. But there was one last occasion when he spoke about his resurrection, and that comes in chapter 14. Let's have a look. Verse 27 and 28. Jesus predicts then Peter's denial. You will all fall away, Jesus told them, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have risen, this is a few hours before his death, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. Resurrection. He has risen. This resurrection, I'm saying already, it's unique. Others rose. Lazarus rose. After 4 days in the grave, Lazarus rose. But he rose only to die again. The widow of Nain's son was resurrected on his way to his burial. But he died again. People were resurrected and they died again. Tradition says about Lazarus, after his resurrection, he never smiled again. I wonder if that's true. Because since he had died, he had gone into glory. And to have a glimpse, what is it like? See, we're designed for things better than this. Don't know where you live right now. Who's got the best house here? Who's got the poshest car? Who's got the biggest bank balance? Who's got the best view out of their window? Oh, what's heaven like? What we're designed for. Heaven is home. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has conceived what God has got prepared for those who love him. So Lazarus, at last he arrives there. Oh, it was difficult dying. It was a terrible illness. But, oh, I'm here. And then he's back. But Jesus, the firstborn from among the dead, that prototype, a gyro, he has risen. I want to say just one more thing, really, that the resurrection was inevitable. Inevitable. He claimed he would rise again many times. It was prophesied in the Old Testament, Psalm 16, verse 10, you will not let your Holy One see decay. It was inevitable. You see, death is facing us all. And death is a consequence of what the Bible calls sin. I don't have to explain sin. I really don't. It's in us all. We disappoint ourselves so often. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Why did I do that? Why didn't I act differently? Oh, I wish I had hindsight. There's this thing called sin, and it's within us. We do things wrong because we are wrong, and sin brings death. The wages, the payout for sin is death. Spiritual death, I wonder if there is a God. Physical death, I'm dying before your eyes here. In another 50 years, I'll be 119. Do you think I'll be here? This is only going to get worse. Yeah, Tim's a little bit behind me. What are you, 64, 3? Oh, sorry, 62. You look 63. But it's a process. Sin has done this. We weren't designed. We're going to be like the angels. But then there's another death the Bible speaks about, and it's an eternal death. And it's your choice. God desires that none should perish. That's why he sent Jesus. There is a hell. He desires that none should go there. So that's why he sent Jesus. But sinners can't go to heaven unless they're transformed and changed. And death hangs on to sinners. But when death received Jesus Christ, it had a big problem. You see, Jesus did or said or thought anything wrong. His life was perfect. His enemies, he challenged them at one point. Who of you can convince me of any sin? And nobody could. Pilate said, I find no fault in him. Even his friends, his disciples said, in him there is no sin. He said nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. If you want to really know about me, for a while I could get away with things by saying, I'm perfect. Now, if you don't know me very well, you might think, well, so far I've got no evidence to the contrary. If you really want to know what I'm like, you ask my wife or my son or my daughter-in-law or my grandchildren, and they'll tell you, well, he's quite a nice chap, but he ain't perfect. Jesus was. Jesus is. And so when Mr. Death received Jesus Christ, he had a problem. A friend of mine called, he's in glory now, minister in South Wales, and a long time just outside London, Derek Swan. He wrote an article for a magazine, and it had this little passage. Now, when Jesus breathed his last on Calvary, death took him into custody, as it does all of us. You can imagine death calling for the book of Jesus' life to be brought in for inspection. Page after page would be turned, but no sin will be found anywhere. Only the last page remains, and when that is turned, like the others, it is spotless. Death turns pale, and motioning to those around says, let him go. His life is sinless. We have no grounds for holding him. The resurrection was inevitable. Inevitable. Well then, finally, the significance. Since Jesus rose, agairo, as he said he would, as was prophesied, as was planned in eternity, what does it mean? Number one, it means that he is who he claimed to be. He was challenged on many occasions. Prove to us that you really are who you claim to be. He says, the only sign I'll give, destroy this temple, I'll raise it again on the third day. The resurrection proves that he is God who's become man. He is the Son of God. Romans chapter 1, he's declared to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead. Secondly, his resurrection proves that his work works. Why did he come into the world? Why did he die on Calvary? The hymns put it very beautifully. He dies to atone for sins not his own. Your debt he has paid. It's gone. On Calvary, a price is being paid. The debt for your sin. The price that would sink you to hell was paid by Jesus Christ. The perfect sacrifice has died. There is a green hill far away, outside a city wall, where the dear Lord was crucified. who died to save us all. We may not know, we cannot tell what pains he had to bear. But we believe, do you believe this? It was for us. He hung and suffered there. He died that we, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Could count you all. It's just gone, so's my watch. I don't know what time it is. What time is it? 3 minutes, oh, I'm 3 minutes over. This counts for all 8.2 billion as well. All over planet Earth, for every nation, tribe, and language. God so loved the world. He died that we might be forgiven. He died to make us good. That we might go at last to heaven saved by his precious blood. There was no other good enough to pay the price of sin. He only could unlock the gate of heaven and let us in. Oh, dearly, dearly has he loved, and we must love him too. And trust in his redeeming blood and try his works to do. The resurrection proves that his work works. Not only is he the Son of God, but he's the Son of God with power now. Now, why did Jesus Christ come and live and die? To take away our sin. If there had been another way, can God just say, oh, I forgive you? No, I'm sorry, he can't. He's holy. And a debt must be paid. The wages of sin is death. But God loves you. Take it personally. Not just the 8 billion. He made you. He chose to make you. He knew where you'd live. He knew where you'd be, what your job might be. He made you for a purpose. And to rescue you. Big rescue gone on apparently in Iran. I make no political comment about it, but it took hundreds of airmen and lots of aircraft to land to find one man. To rescue you took the Son of God coming from eternity, coming into time, living a perfect life, dying the death that you deserve, rising again to prove it's all true. From heaven, he couldn't forgive sin. He could calm a storm. He could raise the dead, but he couldn't forgive sin from heaven. He had to come and take away the sins of the world by living, dying, and rising again. You need to trust in him. The alternative is you carry on as you are. You don't know life. You don't know God, and you only know judgment. But there's a way back to God from the dark paths of sin. There's a way that is open, and all may go in. At Calvary's cross is where you begin when you come as a sinner to Jesus. Oh, the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. It's the day of days. It's the day death died. A gyro. Have you found trusting in the Lord Jesus Christ?